With that, let's move on to some climate change news. Real quickly, guys, just to do a little housekeeping. I've had 2 orders from t-shirts. This happened like about 2 weeks ago. Peter is one of the people that ordered. Tim and Peter. You guys, if you are watching this right now, or if you see this video later on, please respond to your email. Or please email me at blackbearnews@gmail. So that I can know what size and or color to send you. I'd like to send you your t-shirts. I've been trying to send you guys emails, and I'm getting nothing back, and I'm not really sure why. So this is a public shout out, please. Peter is in the UK. Tim is stateside. I think it's Tim. I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. Please let me know what you want so I can send you your t-shirts. Okay. 132 watching, 42 likes. Please like the video up, and please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Let's go into the story of California wildfires. Just a little bit on that. Progress, but work remains to control the blazes. It's much less smoky today, so that is good news. At least here it's less smoky. And I was out and about earlier this morning. It didn't look like there was quite as much smoke in the air, so they might be getting a little bit of a handle on these. Firefighters are working to contain blazes in California Thursday as fires threaten upscale neighborhoods. The Silverado fire, which prompted the evacuation orders of tens of thousands in California's Orange County, has charred over 13,000 acres and injured 5 firefighters, 2 critically, since it broke out Monday. To the east, the Blue Ridge fire has blackened more than 22 square miles, including 56% of Chino Hills State Park at the foothills. That is not good. Of the Santa Ana Mountains. Assemblyman Philip Chen reported in his email newsletter to constituents. High winds, which grounded firefighting aircraft on Monday, were much less of a factor on Wednesday. Here is a little bit on the Colorado firefighters battling wildfire. Leave apology note after cutting fence to save home. By the way, I don't want anybody's home to be burned down or threatened in the fire, in any fire, even if you're wealthy. But if you're wealthy, you have money to rebuild and go somewhere else. But I don't want anybody's life or limb or property to be damaged in a fire. I'm not cheering that on in any way, shape, or form. Firefighters in Colorado have been busy battling 2 of the largest wildfires in state history and are being recognized for leaving behind a display of humanity. Grand County homeowner Daniel Stones posted a handwritten note on Sunday, left behind by firefighters who saved his home from the second largest blaze in state history, the East Troublesome Fire. If this note finds you, we must have done something right. The note reads, sorry for the loss of your shed. We had to cut a little of your wood fence to save your house. Things got really hot as we stayed as long as possible. And here you go. Here's another headline just to read quickly. Colorado wildfires hit with snow and welcome sight for firefighters. So there's a cold front happening in the middle of the states, northwest, bringing snow and colder temperatures to that area, so that's good. I'm going to go quickly to this other headline before we move on. It's 4 days ago, so not pertinent anymore. Thought that was a pertinent headline, and it is not. So yeah, it looks like they have already gotten some snow here. at Division X of Cameron Peak Fire at the Rocky Mountain Park in Colorado. Anyways, moving on. I don't know why I didn't cover this yesterday, but I'm going to cover it today. Hurricane Zeta, actually hit Louisiana yesterday. Yet another hurricane to hit Louisiana. This is, I think it struck as a Category 2 hurricane. Zeta leaves more than 1.9 million customers without power and at least 2 dead after battering Gulf Coast. More than 32 million people are under tropical storm warnings from the Gulf Coast to the mid-Atlantic Thursday morning as former Hurricane Zeta rushes northeast. Zeta made landfall in Louisiana as a Category 2 storm Wednesday before weakening to a tropical storm with sustained winds of 60 miles per hour as of 5 a.m. Eastern Time Thursday. The storm has killed at least 2 people and cut power to more than 1.9 million utility customers across the South. As of 5 a.m. Eastern Time, Zeta Center was near the state line in northern Alabama and Georgia, about 65 miles to the west of metro Atlanta area, lashing parts of both states with wind gusts over 70 miles per hour. The storm was picking up momentum, traveling at 39 miles per hour, and the National Hurricane Center says an even faster northeastward movement is expected later Thursday. On the forecast track, the center of Zeta will move across portions of the southeastern U.S. this morning, across the mid-Atlantic states this afternoon, and emerge over the western Atlantic by tonight. It said Thursday morning. Zeta's fast advance means the system won't lose much energy. CNN meteorologist Michael Guy said this will allow Zeta to keep tropical storm intensity with strong winds throughout its course toward the Atlantic. Zeta is expecting to bring strong gusty winds, isolated tornadoes, and heavy rain with the potential to produce flash flooding overnight. Hurricane and storm surge warnings have been discontinued for all of Louisiana and the Mississippi coast, but coastal areas of Alabama have been warned the storm surge threat remains due to remnant winds left in the wake of the hurricane. At least 32.7 million people from the Gulf Coast toward the Carolinas were under tropical storm warnings Thursday morning. The last time Metro Atlanta was under such a warning was October 2018 as Hurricane Michael passed over the region. And yes, Louisiana is still recovering from earlier storms. What is this? Is this the third storm that has hit Louisiana? Third or fourth? I can't keep track. A 55-year-old man was electrocuted by a downed power line. And still more damage happening. In Mississippi, Biloxi Police Chief John Miller told CNN that a person's body was found on the Broadwater Marina and that the death is considered storm-related. And welcome to the future of climate change. The future is now. Osama says Eta is the 7th Greek letter. See, I got a super chat somewhere. Raza, thank you for the super chat. The Starvation Army will save us. Okay. Be Authentic says vote socialist. Vote Gloria La Riva for president and Sunil Freeman for VP. If you are socialist minded and you want to vote socialist, that's who to vote for. There you go. Poppy Davis says, Maybe they are the two downvotes. Where are you talking about? Wealthy people in Chino Hills? Is that who you're talking about? Creative experiments. Finally, rich people having to use social services for the first time. Food lines and shelters. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't wish ill on anybody, and I'm not, I don't want to make light of, um, unless you're truly evil. I'm not, I don't want to make light of wealthy people having to be have their lives threatened by climate change. However, climate change is a great equalizer. That's all I have to say is, we keep hearing stories about how it's going to impact the poor or the less fortunate, uh, or the more vulnerable. And to a large extent, that's true. To a large extent, that's true. However, climate change does not discern whether you have money or not. So, climate change will certainly come through and destroy, rich homes as quickly as it will destroy poor homes. It will destroy, wealthy, coastal homes as quickly as it will destroy, maybe uh, more moderate coastal homes, um, more humble coastal homes, if you will. Climate change will, it will affect the rich and the poor alike. So if you think that you're going to escape the bad times because you are wealthy, think again. I mean, of course, yes, you have you have the resources to get away or get out or find another place or have a bunker or whatever it is. Of course, yes, you have access to all that stuff. Um, Andy the Gardener says it is not evil to say justice should be enacted. Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm not assuming that every wealthy person is, an evil sociopath or people that live in a wealthy neighborhood. They're all bad people. I'm not that. I don't want to imply that or say that. Um, maybe you just worked really hard. Maybe you just lucked into some money. I don't know. But you know, your zip code does not save you from the ravages of climate change, not on any level. In fact, most likely it puts you at more risk of being affected by climate change because where do rich people like to build their homes? On mountainsides, on cliffs overlooking the ocean, right? Wealthy people like to build their houses or their homes in remote wooded areas, wilderness areas in the mountains of Colorado. That's where wealthy people like to build their homes. And guess what? As soon as all the wildfires start, or the floods start, or the landslides start, or the sea level rise starts, guess whose homes get, targeted first? And not targeted meaning intentionally, but guess whose homes are in the line of fire first? It's usually the wealthy. They all okay. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to have a conversation at the. I'm down to have this conversation at another time, but I don't want to go down the road of uh, what's wrong with wealthy people. I think we all have our ideas about that, and we could go on and on. So let's go back to the Arctic. This is from Manga Bay. Brave new Arctic. Sea ice has yet to form off of Siberia, worrying scientists. Uh, is it just worrying scientists? Is it only scientists who should be worried? I don't know. It's a funny kind of implication, this headline. Well, it's worrying the scientists. Okay. Well, I'm really upset. You know, I'm very sad that scientists are worried. Maybe this should worry the entire population of the planet. Maybe this should worry every single human being on the planet, right? The scientists are worried. What does that mean? Well, it means, well, that's interesting. The scientists are worried, huh? What are these scientists trying to tell us with their worry? Maybe we all should be worried. After a summer that saw record Siberian fires and polar temperatures topping 100 degrees Fahrenheit, along with near-record low sea ice extent in September, the Arctic Ocean's refreeze has slowed to a crawl. The Laptev Sea and East Siberian Sea are, at this point, failing to refreeze as rapidly as in the past. Scientists see all of these worrying events, along with the many other indicators, including fast-melting permafrost, as harbingers of a northern polar region that may be entering a new climate regime. Models predict the Arctic will be ice-free in summer by 2040 or 2050, with unforeseen negative impacts not only in the far north, but on people, economies, and ecosystems around the globe. One major concern, scientists worry how changes in the Arctic might alter temperature weather systems, impacting global food security. So, again, yes, all these rapid and major changes to the climate in the Arctic are going to have effects all around the planet. We're conducting this blind experiment, and we don't yet know the real implications. One sea ice researcher tells Manga Bay, how do you sell climate change to be as much of an emergency as COVID-19? Great question. Except that it will kill a lot more people. Great observation. Ding, ding, ding. Can we ding a little louder for the people in the back? And why? Why isn't climate change being sold or told to the American public or the global public or the European public, the Asian public, the entire planet? Why isn't it being sold as a much bigger threat, a much more existential threat than COVID-19 will ever be? Why? I think that probably when they start to do that, the panic, the realization that, that's a really big wave coming at us. That wave is huge. What are we going to do about this wave? At this time of year in Russia's far north Laptev Sea, the sun hovers near the horizon during the day, generating little warmth as the region heads towards months of polar night. By late September or early October, the sea's shallow water should be a vast frozen expanse. But not this year. For the first time since records have been kept, open water still laps this coastline in late October, though snow is already falling here. In one sense, it's shocking, but on the other hand, it's not surprising, said Walt Meyer, a research scientist at the University of Colorado Boulder's National Snow and Ice Data Center. Over the past 40 years, unprecedented climate change-driven events such as this have become the new normal in the Arctic, which is heating up far faster than the rest of the planet. While weather patterns at the top of the world vary, the overall changes are dramatic and occurring so rapidly that the region may be entering a new Arctic climate regime. Says Laura Landrum, an oceanographer with Colorado's National Center for Atmospheric Research, the Arctic is transitioning from a mostly frozen state into an entirely new climate and impacting the entire planet, she said. Is, not maybe, not could be, not will be, not in the very near future, is right now, right at this very moment. That's what's happening. Meyer calls the Arctic the bellwether of climate change because it's a place where a small bump in temperature has real impact. A change from minus 0.5 C to 0.5 C or 31 Fahrenheit to 33 Fahrenheit is the difference between ice skating and swimming, he said. While a couple of degrees warmer in Florida may not even be noticed. Where are we at right now? This is 2012 and 2016. October 1st to the 16th in 2012. This is where the sea ice, how it was looking. And this is how it's looking this year. Not good. In many ways, worse, right? Because look at all this open water here along the shore of Greenland. And in all these little nooks and crannies and crevices here in the northern territories. Yeah, it looks fairly open here as well, but you didn't have all this open area along the northern shoreline here. Yeah. An extreme year in a region known for extremes. It's been quite a year in Siberia, on land and off the Arctic coast. The first 6 months were extraordinarily warm, and the sea ice began melting early. By May, fires burned in permafrost zones that are usually frozen year-round. In June, temperatures hit a record-breaking 38 C, and by September, blazes incinerated about 14 million hectares of tundra, an area the size of Greece. A combination of changing climate and quirky weather are now preventing this fall's freeze-up. Quirky. Love when they throw that in there. Oh, it's quirky. It's just, it's a little wacky. We don't know what's going on. Come on now. A combination of changing climate and quirky weather. Well, a combination of climate change tipping points. How about that? I fixed it for you. Are now preventing this fall's freeze-up. Siberian sea temperatures are higher than usual because of this year's extreme climate events. The heat wave warmed the many rivers that feed into the Arctic Ocean and also triggered an early meltout without ice and snow that acts like a mirror, reflecting the sun's heat back into the atmosphere. The dark ocean absorbed extra warmth over the summer. Much of the remaining ice disintegrated. Then in September, unusually strong, warm winds blew in from the south, pushing any newly formed ice out to sea. In the past, a shift in the winds wouldn't have mattered that much. Back in the 1980s, Igor Polyakov, a climate scientist at the University of Alaska, remembers being part of expeditions that landed small seaplanes on sea ice to study the Siberian Arctic. He described the Laptev Sea as a solid, glaring white landscape punctuated by pastel-tinged ice, rose-colored, light blue, and green. Since the region's deeply cut gulfs and bays are located in shallow continental shelf waters, they mostly stayed frozen. But by summer 2002, sea ice was less stable, and today, icebreakers can travel the region through open water. The changes are dramatic, he said. It happened in front of our eyes. Now in the summer, there's no ice at all for thousands of kilometers, sometimes as far north as the 85th parallel. That's 5 degrees from the North Pole. In the 1980s, about 80% of the Arctic Ocean and its surrounding seas were frozen in thick, old ice that mostly survived the summer melt. And James Overland, an oceanographer with the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, who has studied the Arctic for decades. Now much of that has to refreeze each winter. We did not expect to see this so soon. And here we are. Getting a little bit of upward motion, but not nearly what it should be. And look how far we are from the mean, I guess. Yeah. Or the median. That's the 81 to 2010 median. So this is the median just 10 years ago. Right here. Look where we are now in 10 years. A dangerous cycle across the Arctic ice is now thawing earlier, freezing later, thinning, and in many places disappearing altogether. Thinner ice is less resilient. Picture ice cubes in a glass. Thick chunks last longer and melt slower than ice chips, and slivers all disintegrate faster in warmer liquid. This is a huge problem in the Arctic, where vast stretches of open blue water absorb the sun's heat during summer when the sun never really sets. Those warm waters flow beneath the ice to melt it from below. This year, the overall health of the sea ice was bleak. The end of summer minimum was tracking at the second lowest amount of sea ice in 42 years. Landrum said measurements by NASA and the NSIDC found it was about 2.6 million square kilometers lower than the average from 1981 to 2000. NASA satellite data shows an overall downward trend in Arctic ice is averaging 12.9% a year. 12.9% a year. This year's average global temperature will be among the warmest on record, researchers say. Current models predict the Arctic ice will be ice-free in summertime by 2040 to 2050. What models are you looking at? I don't understand. Can somebody help me understand this? What models are they looking at? Overland thinks the so-called blue ocean event might come even sooner. Yeah. Many factors are colliding that could speed massive melt. New feedback loops continue to emerge, compounding and accelerating changes. For example, early climate models didn't factor in methane, a potent greenhouse gas that's pouring into the atmosphere from melting permafrost. The tundra is now thought to be emitting 300 to 600 million tons of carbon yearly, the equivalent of driving between 65 and 129 million cars for a year. So here's some good graphs here, or good grief. Minimum sea ice extent. This is where we are today. What is this, though? Oh, what is this, like, flattening out thing that's happening here? Like, it's not just going to go like this. Boop. Boop. Like, you see this like hopium graph that they're doing here? This is wild. Who made this graph? They should be, I don't know what, flogged with wet noodles or something. I don't, made to run the gauntlet. Whoever made this graph is an asshole. You're an asshole. Oh, yeah, we think this is where it's going to go. No, here's the trend. Boom. That's the trend. Here's the trend. Boom. Right here. Right here. End of ice here. Here. This, like, goofy, weird, like, somehow we're going to just keep on having ice for another 30 years graph. Who made that? Surface temperature. Here's surface temperature. Here we are today. Oh, somehow we're just going to Here's another graph that was made by a psychopath. Oh, we're just going to flatten out here and just keep on going flat line here. Like, what? Oh my God, this is criminal. Here's the trend line. Here we are here, and the trend line isn't going to go here, here, here. Yeah. Okie dokie. Number of rainy days. Again, I don't know, whatever. Here we are here today. This is supposedly where we're going to be in 2100. All right, whatever. I'm not going to read any more of this. I've lost my time and my patience with this. These lunatic, graph makers, or I don't know, we'll call them scientists on some level. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? We have 142 watching, 62 likes. Please like up the video. And if you're new, please subscribe. Flattening the curve. Yeah, I mean, what is this? What is this about? I don't understand. I don't understand how they're projecting temperature, here's the temperature going up. Oh, and we're just going to go straight across from here. Everything's going to be fine from here, or kind of way better from here. The pen couldn't cope, Rich Diana. Yeah. Had Vollmer thought crime. Indeed. I don't get it. I do not get it. Judy Truitt says, I have 2 huge pecan trees. They drop pecans every year. This year is sparse. Sorry to hear that, Judy Truitt. They're factoring in carbon capture. Yeah, they're factoring in some magical, magically we're going to start bringing down the emissions, and somehow that's all going to cure everything, and we're going to get a couple more decades of normalcy. No, we're not. That is tantamount to malpractice or misinformation or intentionally lying to people. Unbelievable. I don't know what else to say. You know what? I wanted to go one more time. Another major story, and I'm sorry that I spent so much time on that article, but it had to be covered. Another major story from yesterday. Trump administration issues go-ahead for a major Arctic Alaska oil project. Yeah, the hits just keep on coming. The Willow Prospect is set to be the westernmost producing oil field on the North Slope. The Trump administration has given final approval to ConocoPhillips' plan for a major new oil field on Alaska's North Slope. The Bureau of Land Management on Monday issued its record of decision in favor. Thanks, BLM, otherwise known as the Bureau of Land Management, in favor of the plan for the Willow Master Development Plan. Willow, a prospect with oil from the previously neglected Nanashuk geological formation that runs through the eastern side of the National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska. Why is it called that? One can only wonder. Would be the westernmost producing oil field on the North Slope. The project will tap into what is believed to be 590 million barrels of reserves and produce up to 160,000 barrels per day over 30 years. So they're projecting they want to keep pumping oil out of this thing for 30 more years. And you just saw the graphs or the actual, you saw the trend line of the graphs where we're going and how quickly we are going. How quickly we are going there. Let me just rephrase that. As planned by ConocoPhillips, the Willow development will have the processing capacity to support other new oil fields in the area. Awesome. Wonderful. What a way to close out or begin to close out the year 2020. They could begin project construction in 2021 if it receives other necessary regulatory approval. The decision was applauded by Alaska politicians. Well, all right. Because they're all lunatics. These Alaska politicians. They're all wild-eyed capitalist, libertarian lunatics. I'm sure. The attacks on the Arctic just continue to escalate. Nicole Whittington Evans, Alaska program director for Defenders of Wildlife, said in a statement, the finalization of oil and gas plans for the Willow Project and the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge are a 1-2 punch to wildlife, including imperiled southern Beaufort Sea polar bears and their critical habitat. Despite the urgent need to ramp down our carbon emissions as the Arctic continues to melt, the Bureau of Land Management just continues its drumbeat to drill for fossil fuels. And here are a few tweets on the subject from Nathan Mackenzie Brown. Breaking: Trump administration just finalized opening all 16.7 million acres of the Tongass National Forest to corporate exploitation. This is an attack on a critical ecosystem, a gross violation of indigenous rights, and expedites the climate crisis. We will not let this stand. And here from Go Green, seismic oil gas exploration will scar Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, leave 20,000 mile tracks. Convoys of 90,000-pound thumper trucks, tractors, bulldozers would roll over fragile tundra 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for months, and cause long-lasting damage. Yeah. And, well, I'll let you all sit with that depressing news. Hey guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and you can support the channel. The links below, PayPal, Patreon, Square. Also, if you'd like to watch the live streams, you can watch the live streams on my Patreon channel. You can subscribe for as little as $1. So hopefully I will see you over there, and thanks so much.